From the calming sound of lava hitting snow and the boiling mud pots of Azerbaijan to an amazing sculpture of thousands of birds and a fascinating whirlpool in the midst of a lake. In this video, we'll talk about satisfying moment of nature. Here are some of Mother Nature's most rewarding moments. Europe's biggest volcano, Mount Etna, is 11,000 feet tall. Additionally, it is one of the world's most active stratovolcanoes. Its snow-capped slopes, which are in eastern Sicily, provide some extremely pleasurable moments after she blows her top. Steam billows that resemble smoke signals are produced when lava and molten boulders pour down the mountain. These fortunate hikers witnessed the first significant eruption of 2017 by Ethnos. Fortunately, it was not violent enough to endanger them. A massive chunk of the lava breaks off and rolls down the snowy slope like a tire, leaving a trail of steam in its wake as it descends the mountain in the form of little hardened boulders rolling over the main flow. Before it eventually stops, it breaks apart, and you can hear the gratifying hiss of steam escaping from the hot rock. Do you understand what we mean by smoke signals? Volcanoes are among the most beautiful sights in nature, yet they do not usually take the form of enormous, mile-high mountains. We can go up to some, like the boiling mud volcanoes in Gogistan, Azerbaijan, and observe their many outbursts. The Middle Eastern nation located halfway between northern Iran and southern Russia is well known for its actual mud volcano fields. People went to see these small mud puddles bubble and burp all year long since they have the most in the entire globe. The bubbling is brought on by subterranean material and gases that are rising from very deep below the surface. You occasionally hear them pop when the wind slows down. These mud pots, according to Arid USA, offer a rich ecology for numerous microorganisms. They assist the acidic gases in reducing rock and generating additional muddy ponds. But is it safe to approach a mud volcano at that distance? According to the United States Geological Survey, or USGS, they can undergo strong eruptions, but for the most part, they are quite innocuous. Additionally, according to the USGS, the mud that mud volcanoes spew is often chilly or only marginally warmer than the surrounding air. They do not, however, smell strongly of rotten eggs like the mud pots of Southern California or Yellowstone National Park. We seem to have a peculiar obsession with objects that bubble and pop. Dr. Pimple Popper is well known because of this. But what happens if the dirt in your suburban garden begins to bubble? Well, in the summer of 2021, after deluges of rain deluged Livingston County, Michigan, a local dad named Mr. Corcoran went outside and discovered what he called a massive earth pimple in his yard. With the aid of his dependable yard tools and a bit of balance, he demonstrated to the world what happens when you pop an earth bubble. As he practices his best Dr. Pimple Popper impersonation, Corcoran bounces up and down on the earth pimple. After many strong waxes, he eventually breaks the bubble, letting the murky water flow out. So what took place that day in their backyard? The phenomena converts the grass into a wet bed where you can bounce up and down is known as a lawn blow stir, and it occurs when water collects underneath the grass. Lawn blisters are ultimately caused by very slight flooding. However, what happens when it rains so heavily that you require an industrial-sized drain to remove all the water from Lake Texoma, a man-made reservoir on the Texas-Oklahoma border? In such case, officials must monitor water levels and decide when to release the spillway of the Denison Dam. In June 2015, following 4 weeks of persistent rain, as you would pull the drain stopper on your bathtub, they decided it was time to drain the lake. They opened the spillway to release the water, which produced the mesmerizing vortex. A tiny boat may be swallowed by the 8-foot-tall tornado. Thankfully, when they intend to cut the power, dam administrators alert voters by posting signs and buoys. Without that warning, unwary voters can find themselves circling the enigmatic whirlpool until they reach the bottom. Leaf after leaf is dragged into the swiftly rotating vortex as it becomes larger. However, we have no idea from where they ejected themselves or what initially gave rise to this vortex in Huizhou, China. Whether it is scalding snow that causes grass blisters to explode or mysterious whirlpools, water is just stunning. The effects of wind and water can occasionally be even more wild. Just ask this Canadian who witnessed a gigantic wall of ice being driven up and over the retaining wall in February 2019 by strong winds across the Niagara River. According to National Geographic, ice tsunamis similar to this one have impacted a number of locations around the Great Lakes. The Niagara River, which connects Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, flows between Buffalo, New York, and St. Catharines, Ontario. This individual was present to see the amazing incident from the St. Catharines side. Huge pieces of ice are rolling over the retaining wall, and he cannot believe what he is seeing. He is more shocked by the fact that he recorded the incident on video. As the ice continued to build in front of him, the wind blew by. At least 10 feet must separate that pile from the ground. For many days, winds gusted to above 60 miles per hour and knocked out power in the Great Lakes region. Despite this, the rushing sound of the wind was almost as wonderful as the sound of this frozen lake in Stockholm, Sweden. Meet Morten Aina, a Swedish mathematician and author with some cutting-edge cameras and microphones. He is a crazy ice skater. To capture the sound of ice, Morten and a cameraman called Henrik Trigg traveled to this little lake near Stockholm. As warbles and sounds resembling lasers emanate from below, Morten skates on the flimsy black ice. In a minute, we will get into the science. But for the time being, let us just enjoy the atmosphere as we typically equate thin ice with peril. Morten and Henrik like the term science-based enjoyment. It is known as wild ice skating. Additionally, it entails striking the ice as soon as it has frozen, according to National Geographic. It is also known as Nordic skating, and according to Morten, it requires a lot of math relating to temperature and meteorological conditions. The thinness of the ice is what causes the noises Morten refers to as the song of black ice. According to him, the tone is greater the thinner the ice. The layers of air and water beneath the frozen surface operate as a vibrating sign above it. Funny things like these happen in nature all the time, and sometimes they have nothing to do with noises, as when you observe groups of birds flying in intricate formations. And we are not referring to a small flock of birds flying in a V formation. Starling flocks, sometimes numbering over 2,000, have been spotted flying over the UK, and bird enthusiasts in Gretna, Scotland, have observed as they execute artistic maneuvers and patterns in the sky. How they can move together as a group is amazing. The flock can at times get very large, nearly engulfing the entire tree line. Then they will merge into a dense black mass as they fly closer together. Before joining the rest of the flock, a small group of 100 birds will descend into the trees in an effort to find enough food for everyone. Imagine seeing it floating over your house as you step outdoors. The popularity of the birds by Alfred Hitchcock is understandable. When flocks of hundreds or even thousands of starlings fly in synchronized patterns, scientists refer to phenomenon as a murmuration. How well organized are they, though? The birds only pay attention to 7 of their flockmates, according to George F. Young of Princeton University. Assuming that each neighbor pays attention to 7 of their neighbors, and so on, the flock eventually moves as one. Scientists think that they adopt this action to fend off predators. Keep warm and let others know where the best grazing spots are. That is it for today. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more videos.